So a distribution is any table, graph, or formula that provides the values of the observations and how often they occur. Distribution shapes. So if each occurrence is equally likely, the shape is uniform, each one is the same, and the outputs all look like this. So above some A and B. So if all of the bars in the histogram had the same height, or if your dot plot, each one had the same height for the frequencies, it would have a uniform distribution. Next is symmetric. So if one side of the distribution is the same as the other, or you can fold them through the middle and they match. So let's say it's I'm going to draw it more like a histogram. Yeah. So say your histogram is far like this, and then goes over, back up. This one will go over, back up. And we'll go down. So this is spot in the middle we'll call the axis of symmetry, where this side is a mirror image of the other side. Okay, the next section, or the next chapter, chapter 16, we will probably talk about bell-shaped distributions. You have a peak, and then the data kind of drops off on the sides, so it's the shape of a bell. I don't have another color, but if you drew a little curve over this, look. Right skewed is when there is more data on the left side and then trails off to the right. So draw a picture. So some data on the left and then a little bit over here on the right. So come up and then down and over. And the right tail is longer. So this is called the
Is this kind of like similar to when people will refer to like data as like saying the data is skewed just because it shapes a certain way, like say experts on TV or whatever?
Exactly. Yeah, it has a skew to the left or to the right, probably. Is longer. Yeah, the other one I have is left skewed. Let's just redraw. So you have a little bit of data here, and then more over on the right. So let's go like left side has like a little bit here. Maybe even we'll just go like this. Just slowly stack. And then maybe drop down. Like 1 - So most of your data is here on the right side and then kind of trails off with just a little bit to the left. It's the left tail. This part here is the tail. Left side. Okay, there may be some more shapes, but those are the ones from this section that we're going to focus on. And I think we have time to talk about percentiles. So start off fresh board. The kth percentile is a number we're going to call p sub k. Such that k% of the data is less than or equal to this number. We'll spell percent. It's okay. That should work. So the 30th percentile would be p sub 30. So P sub 30 is a number that has 30% of the data below the number, and the other 70% of the data will be above this number. P sub 30 is value. Oh, I put the number that divides the bottom 30% of the data, so that might save some writing. Percentiles, piece of 30 is the value that divides. %, of the data. %. So aside from just telling me what different percentages, except for these three main ones that I'm going to put up, I'll probably just have you interpret what they say, but not actually find like P sub 4 or something, the value that divides the bottom 4% from the top 96%. My goal is for us to learn how to find quartiles. So we're going to find P sub 25, P sub 50, P sub 75. But we're going to call them Q1. And I'm back. We're still recording. And what I was trying to say was, in this part of the section, I want to focus on quartiles. Okay, the first quartile. Is Q sub 1 and it's equal to P sub 25. So the bottom 25% or the first quarter of the data is the first quarter of the data less than or equal to this number. We're going to call Q1. The second quartile. Q2. Okay, second quartile is Q sub 2, which is P sub 50. So this divides the bottom 50% of the data from the top 50% of the data. Last one. Third quartile. We call it Q sub 3, it equals P sub 75. And by the way, I'm going to list out steps of how to find Q1, Q2, and Q3. But just for side notes, this is what they are. It's the value that divides the bottom 75% of data from the top 75% of data. And those are all the quartiles. I just put a note that the second quartile is also the median of the set. You find the first one, and then the second one, and then the third one, and those are all of the quartiles. Let's practice. After we write down some steps. So the first step is to arrange your data. There's a lot of steps, so I'm going to wait till we can erase everything.
Are the steps going to be universal among all three of the quartiles, or is there a different one for quartile 1, a different one for quartile 2, and quartile 3, or is it universal for 1, 2, and 3?
It'll work for, you'll be able to find the quartiles for every kind of problem. The only thing that's going to change from problem to problem is if you have an even number of elements or an odd number of elements, and that's going to be listed somewhere in the steps.
Okay.
Yeah, you can use this every time. So first, you have to arrange the data in increasing order. Find the median, and that's Q2. So we practiced last time. You get everything in order and you work towards the middle and you find the middle value. It's either right there or it's the average of the two middles numbers. We're going to practice. So find the median. That's the middle, that's the value that divides the bottom 50% from the top 50%. So we found Q2. Number 3. You use this as a place where you split the data into a bottom half and a top half. And then we'll find the middle of the bottom half and the middle of the top half. But first, split the data into a bottom half and top half. So this is where there could be different situations. If, let's see, if the number of observations is odd, you include the median in both halves. If it's even, then you're able to just split the data. We'll talk about it. We'll practice it. Okay, so if number of observations. Nope, it's not gonna fit. use Q2 in both halves, in the bottom half and the top half. So put it in the set on the left, and then also put it in the set on the right. Otherwise, you'll be able to just split the sets down the middle. Four and five, you can do them in either order. So go find the median of the bottom half, which is Q1. Okay. Then the median of the top half, we call Q3.
Because we not solved the issue, but like when we have an odd number for the median of the whole set, when you're finding Q2, do you use that same step if you have like, if you can't have an even, I'm trying to explain it, like for Q1 and Q3, if you have to find a middle, but it's an odd amount of numbers, do you do the same thing where you include it in both the Q2 and Q3?
I think in that case, what's going to happen is either when you go to find Q1, it's right in the middle, like the practice we did last time, or it's going to be the average of the middle numbers.
Okay, so you'd find
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, and that's here too. Either find the number or take the average of the middle numbers.
Okay.
Cool. Then I've got practice problems, which we'll probably do two. Hopefully, we'll do two of them today. First one. We want to just find the quartiles for the following set. All right, the set contains 26, 27, 30, 30. 31, 32, 34. Okay, so I kind of purposely put everything in order so that we can move on from the very first step you're supposed to do and get to step 2, which we can write down. Find the median. Okay, to the edges and then towards the middle. So it's once, 2 times, 3 times, 30's in the middle. So Q2 equals 30. So let's see. have an odd number of elements, which means 30 will be in the bottom set and the top set. So we'll have a set like this with 1, 2, 3, 4 elements. After looking at that set, we'll go over here and have 1, 2, 3, 4 elements. So let's not confuse ourselves. Let's back it up. Start with the bottom half. So including 30, we are going to go to the edges, then in towards the middle, where we're going to take the average of 27 and 30. What's this? By the way, we always have Q1, Q2, Q3. Like piece of 25, piece of 50, piece of 75. So this guy here is Q1, the average of 27 and 30. I have 28.5. Last one. So I'm just going to make extra shaded brackets. So this time we do include 30 over here. This way. And also this way. Okay, that would be the top half. So again, the median of the top half will be Q3, where we take the average of 31 and 32, the middle of the middle. So 31.5. Wait. Okay, you got the same thing? Cool. Turns out I wrote down the wrong set, but we did this problem correctly. I just didn't have the same answers on my paper. But that's okay. Let's double check, and then should we use? We'll double check and do one more, and that'll be enough for today. So we went and found the middle, Q2. We included that and went and found this average. Awesome. And we went in here, found this average, should be 31.5. And those are all of the quartiles. How do you determine the top and bottom half? So I think that just to make sure I do find the right halves, I count how many elements I have and see if it's an even number or odd number. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It was an odd number of elements with 7 total. And when it's odd, that's the note that says to include Q2 in both halves. So kind of maybe mark where Q2 is, make sure it gets into that set as the top value all the way to the bottom, and then use it in this set where it's included and goes to the top. We'll keep practicing. Probably on Monday we'll do more practice because I think that quartiles seem intimidating until you just get a lot of practice. Number 2. Find the quartiles After that one, we got this set here. 60, 65, 70, 80. Wait, 60, 65, 70, 80. Cool. 80 again. 85, 90. I think we'll just want to count how many elements we have to even start. Just put it on the side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Professor, can I ask one question before we go any further into the problem?
Yeah.
Really quick, maybe I just missed it when we first went over it, but like when you have an even number, when you don't have like a middle number that is included in both sides,
Yeah.
what do we write down? Like say the middle number was like 79 and 80 because it's even.
Yeah.
What do we write for Q2? Do you find average?
Yeah, what would happen is what would split it would be 75 in the middle. And then you would go from that number down. So 70, 65, 60 would be the bottom half. And, we'd have another number in here, something. And then you'd have that top half. So it would be like,
So if you had an even number and you had two numbers, I guess you could say, for that fall in the middle, you would just find the average and that would be your actual middle Q2.
yeah, that would split the data.
Okay.
And then you
So
have,
similar to what we would do for Q1 and Q2, right? Okay.
yeah. And then actually, I am going to change the problem to make it now 8 elements, and we're going to try it this way because we can always come back and practice how it was.
Sorry about that. Thank you, though.
I think it's a good question. So now we've got 8 elements, and it says even. And we don't have to really worry about anything. I'll just kind of show you that we can just find Q2 and we can sort of easily find Q1. Which we call Q2. Okay, so it should be right in the middle or divides the middle. We'll find out. Let's see. 1, 2, 3. Here. So it is the average of 70 and 80. Should be 75. I feel unsure of myself sometimes. Never hurts to check. All right, if you add 70 with 80 and then you divide it by 2. Oh. Yep, good. 75 would be here. So right here, we have a bracket maybe this way. And then a bracket that way. And this is the bottom half, and then this is the top half. Okay, I like to go here first and find this median, Q1. So edges, and then towards the middle is going to be the average of 60 and 65. So it would be, let's see, 62.5 would be halfway. Or the middle value. Almost done. Okay, so Q3 will be the median of this top half. So you find the edge, go towards the middle. The middle would be the average of 80 and 85. Um, 82.5. Q1, Q2, Q3, we're good to go. I had, let's see, a couple more examples for this, and before we go though, let's define this one thing, and then we'll come back and we'll do those examples on Tuesday. Okay, so what I want to talk about before we leave for the day is a 5-number summary. So for any set of data, the 5 summary is so it's a list of 5 important numbers: the max, the min, Q1, Q2, Q3. All right, so before we leave, I want to remind you that we're not going to go too deep into all of the different percentiles. We want to focus on the quartiles, Q1, Q2, Q3. We're going to practice finding those next class meeting. And then I'm thinking that we may try to draw box plots. We'll see. That's kind of where this section is leading, is to draw some graphs that are called box plots. Thanks, everyone. Have a good day.